Don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing.
Hi, I'm Lisa Bedford, and today I wanted to share with you 4 reasons why you should start saving seeds and the type of seeds that should be saved. First of all, saving seeds seems to be just a logical step in the whole gardening process, and that is reason number 1. If you're planting a garden and you're collecting your crops, whether you've had a good year or a lousy year, chances are very good that there are going to be seeds that you can set aside for next year, for next growing season. It just is a logical part of gardening. A second reason for saving seeds is that you're going to be saving seeds from plants that have been successes. Now, that is really important whether you are a beginning gardener or you have many, many years experience of gardening. Because when you see that a particular variety of tomato or cucumber or sweet potatoes or basil has done really well in your yard, in your containers, think about what that is what that involves. That involves a level of sunlight that's agreeable with that variety, a level of water, the way that you fertilize your plants. All the growing conditions are making that particular variety very, very happy. And you want to duplicate that success over and over and over again every season. And so if you are saving seeds from those varieties, those happy varieties in your garden, that means you have a very good chance the next season and the next season to have more and more success. A third reason to save seeds is because it does save money. And if you are someone like me and you look through these seed catalogs and before long you have pretty much every single page dog-eared, well, that can add up to a lot of money. But if you can find especially a few key plants, a few key varieties that you know you're happy with, cooking, and you can or dehydrate, your family will eat them, why not plant those same things year after year after year, and then each season, add a few more varieties, a few more different plants from those seed catalogs or from the nursery, because is nice to have variety. But at least you're saving money on a few key plants. And the fourth reason is this. You may have heard about seed vaults. These have been built, there are probably more than one, but I saw a video of one seed vault and it was way north of the Arctic Circle. And inside there were just millions of different kinds of seeds that were saved. The first time I saw that variety, I knew one thing about those seeds. In case of a horrible catastrophe or in case of a famine, those seeds would not be handed over to me so I could plant them and hopefully grow food for my hungry family. Those seeds are intended for someone else, some other group of people somewhere. And so if my family is going to have a seed bank of seeds that grow well under the conditions in our backyard, then it's up to me to set those aside. So what kind of seeds are you going to save? First of all, chances are really good that if you have been buying seedlings from commercial nurseries, or if you have been buying seeds from your typical seed catalogs, chances are good that those are all hybrid plants. And you can tell just by looking at the label, the product description in the catalog. And it will say hybrid or non-hybrid. But you want to save seeds only from non-hybrid plants. And here's why. If you can think back to a time when a new baby was born in your family or among your circle of friends and relatives, and the whole family is gathered around looking at this new little creature, and sure enough, people start spotting, interesting characteristics about this baby. This baby has, grandpa's nose. It has his mom's chin. It has his Aunt Lucy's curly hair, or it has great-great-grandma's funky-looking toes. That baby is a hybrid. And when a baby is born, you never know exactly what it's going to look like. And especially you don't know what it's going to look like, he or she, when they grow up. That's a hybrid. And when you save hybrid seeds and you try to use seeds from those hybrid plants the next season, you don't know what you're going to get. You may get the exact same variety of tomato, for example, that you saved the seeds from. Or you might get a very weak-looking plant that doesn't really produce much of anything. Or you might get a plant with strange-looking fruit and you look at that and say, well, where did that come from? So you don't want to save seeds from hybrid plants ever. It just doesn't make sense. The seeds you want to save are from plants that are non-hybrid. That means that there has been no cross-pollination happening with that particular variety. If you are growing Roma tomatoes, for example, and you want their non-hybrid Romas, you want to make sure that there is no possibility that your non-hybrid Romas were ever pollinated by bees, by the wind, by whatever source, with another variety of tomato, maybe even tomatoes growing across, the other side of the yard. So those little bees, when they are very busy, when they're doing their thing and the pollination happens, you don't know if your plants have been cross-pollinated or not. So you want to make sure that number one, you buy non-hybrid seeds, non-hybrid seedlings. That is really, really important. Now, once the flowers, the blossoms begin to develop, once the fruit has begun to develop, then there are steps you can take that are very simple just to make sure those busy little bees or the wind or some other, method of cross-pollination doesn't happen. But it's very important that only seeds from non-hybrid plants are saved. Now, what about heirloom seeds? There is a lot of confusion about what's an heirloom. Is an heirloom hybrid, non-hybrid? Well, here's the story about heirloom seeds. Heirloom seeds are non-hybrid with a history. And all that means is that seeds from that particular variety have been passed down generation to generation to generation to generation. And fortunately, we have some really impressive and very helpful seed banks here in the United States where you can buy heirloom seeds and you can come up with and you can grow varieties of strawberries, varieties of lettuce that you're not going to find in grocery stores because in the last 100 years or so, more than half of all the different varieties of plants that we once had are gone. And so the only place you can find some of these varieties is just in heirloom seed banks and by buying from heirloom seed stores. So, is heirloom a must? No. Heirloom is just a non-hybrid with a story. But non-hybrid is a must. Now, what about GMO? There are a lot of scary stories out there about GMO corn, GMO rice, and wheat, and so on. Well, GMO seeds are not sold to the general public. So you don't have to worry about buying some corn seeds, for example, from a seed catalog, and they're slipping GMO seeds to you. All right. These GMO crops are grown in these huge industrial type farms. The only reason that you might have to worry about the whole GMO pollination issue is if your home and your garden is close to one of these fields of a GMO crop, because some stray bee could very easily, be flying through and picking up pollen from a GMO crop and then moseying on over to your backyard where maybe you have also, corn growing, but your corn is non-GMO and non-hybrid. So that's the only time that a non-GMO pollination issue would come about is if you live near one of those large farms. So in a nutshell, there are some really good reasons for saving seeds. It's simple and easy to do. And I think it's a smart thing, especially if you are looking at the future and you're thinking there really could be a food shortage. We really could see a time where we experience even larger crop failures across the country than we've seen already. I'm Lisa Bedford. I'm the Survival Mom. And you can keep up with me on Facebook and Twitter, Pinterest, as well as this YouTube channel. And I have a book out that talks a little bit about gardening as well as other self-reliant topics. And that book title is Survival Mom, Preparing Your Family for Everyday Disasters and Worst Case Scenarios. So I hope you'll join me on my blog, join me on the discussions there, because the whole point of what we do is just supporting each other and learning from each other. So I'm Lisa Bedford, the Survival Mom, and I will see you the next time around.
Go